everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Jo, I am Belushi Stitches here on Flosstube and also over on Instagram. This is my channel about cross stitch. If you're new here, thank you very much for stopping by, and if you're returning, thank you for coming back. It's been, I think, about a year since I was in front of the camera, so I'm probably going to be very rusty today. But since then I have put out a series for a Chatelaine design that I have stitched, and I've had a few floss tubes sort of with the camera facing down towards the table. So today is going to be a WIP parade. It's going to be an active WIP parade. So it's not everything I've got, it's just anything that I've worked on so far this year in 2024. I fully intended to do an end of year WIP parade in December 23 and just didn't get around to it. I also then planned to do it in January and in February, and at that point I thought, let's leave it till mid-year, and then July came, and then August came, and it's now the first week of September. But I'm probably going to be very late on my end of year WIP parade 24 if it ever happens, so I just think it's better to just do it when I can. As I said, this is my WIP parade for 2024 so far. That includes finishes, things I've started, and anything else I've just worked on throughout the year. Let's get started. My first finish of the year in 2024 was Evening in the Park, which is a Chatelaine design. I'm going to put a picture somewhere here. I started it in August 2023 and finished it in January 24. It took me 5 months and 6 days, which I still really can't believe. You should now be seeing some pictures. I'm not going to show you this one at the moment. It's all wrapped up and covered in felt, and it's off to the framers hopefully at some point soon. But what I will say is I've got a whole series of videos called the Chatelaine Chronicles relating to Evening in the Park on my channel. You can find it either in the video section or there's a dedicated playlist for it. You'd be able to see in the last one, you'd be able to see the final finish. And I believe I've done some close-ups and all sorts of things in there. If I haven't, then you should be seeing the photos here, or maybe both. I haven't worked that out yet. That's for editing Jo to deal with later. I absolutely loved it, hence why I finished it in 5 months and 6 days. I saw Teresa Little Stitcher stitching this one a couple of years ago and just absolutely loved it, and then it took ages to kind of kit up and get ready, and if I'm honest, get the confidence to stitch it. It's full of specialty stitches, specialty threads, beads, crystals. It's absolutely stunning, and I was very intimidated to start a Chatelaine. Once I did it, I just loved it and just got on with it, one confusing moment at a time and one stitch at a time, and just carried on until I finished it. It was pretty much a focus. I couldn't stop it. I just absolutely loved it. So just a little thing, if you're unsure about starting one, or you're as intimidated as I was about starting one, don't be, just start it. It will be great, it will be fine. There's a Facebook group called the Chatelaine Support Group, and people in there are probably stitching the same one that you are, and everyone asks each other for advice, and you can see photos of people, so absolutely 100% start the Chatelaine, start it. I have a bit of a problem with finishes. I finish them, I fold them up, I put them in a big bag, and then I leave them there, and what I do is I pull some of them out to show you. It's a problem. So I do have intentions, again, I said this before, but I do have intentions to do a kind of finish parade where I measure them at the same time so I can actually start getting things framed. It's just silly now. It's just silly. These are the rest of the finishes that I had in 2024 so far. The first one to show you is the Black Pearl. This is by, I've got notes down here, which is what I'm looking at, the Witchy Stitcher. I did this on some of the most awesome fabric. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I'll find it. Obviously things are not ironed. I'll find it and I'll let you know, or if you want to know, then I can show you. I did this in three different colours, as you see. It's stitched in a monochrome, but I just had a vision. I just had a vision of it, especially on this fabric. I thought maybe I could do some colour. So I just made the tentacles a different colour, and then the Black Pearl. I can't remember the tentacles colour, but the Black Pearl is in DMC 115, which is variegated. I actually haven't stitched it variegated. I've just used the loop start, but it's variegated itself, which is pretty cool. So yeah, my plan for these kind of spooky Halloween ones, it's not Halloweeny, well, is it spooky? Yeah, that sort of thing, is just to have them all framed and all up in my bathroom, make it a really quite dark gothic place to be. So that's black pearl. So just to show you what I do as well is when I put this away, I don't fold it back in the same place because I don't think that really helps the folds. So I just fold it in, I've clearly folded it there as well. I just fold it in random places just to try and spread out the fold lines, I suppose. I'm probably creating more, but in my head I think that's better. Okay, the next one is Cat Butt, or Keeping It Clean. This is by Kristi's Corner on YouTube. This is part of the Medieval Marginalia series. So Kristi is taking some drawings that are in the margins of medieval manuscripts and then charting them, and this is part of a series. So at the moment we've got Nun Harvesting Phalluses, Butt Trumpet, and then this one. It's just so random. It's so funny. It's so funny. Those of us that have cats, you often see just this sort of leg up here, just sort of peering over the top of furniture. That's what's happening. There was an awful lot more of these leaves in this design, but I will admit I just got kind of leaved out, and I just thought it was, I thought it was brilliant the way that it was, and I just stopped stitching the rest of the leaves and the vines and stuff, which I think is fine. I think it's cool. That I put in one of these bugs. I said to Kristi, I feel like the bugs could be kind of creeping up on the cat who's just sort of so busy washing that doesn't really notice the bugs. So I made sure that I got a bug in there that's gradually creeping up. I think it's so funny. So yeah, that's Cat Butt. I just love it. Kristi has said that she is, or has charted, I think she's model stitching now the most recent one, which for some of her patrons we got to, as some of her patrons, we got to choose which one is next. So I know which one's next. It's very exciting. Okay, let's fold that one up, put it back in the bag. The next one is Haunted Library, and this one is by Lola Cross Stitch. This one feels very chunky. So this is Haunted Library. Where are we? Oh, there you are. This was a stitch along that was a piece released every couple of weeks, I think. But I started it and then just stitched it. This was part of some Halloween and October stitching starts with Kelly, who is Animal Instinct or Animal Stitches, depending on if you're going to YouTube or Instagram. And this was so much fun. So many books though. It's so cool. I made a couple of changes. The candles are in glow in the dark. I was going to do glow in the dark of everything, but in the end just sort of, I don't know, didn't go for it. So I think I made a couple of changes in this bit here. Yeah, there were a number of people in a Facebook group that were kind of designing little bits to go in, and I just jumped on the bandwagon. So somebody designed this typewriter for Misery and this ink pot with a quill. How close can I get in? Oh yeah, nice. And then I had, growing up, I have a childhood memory, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I have a childhood memory of walking in to the lounge and It being on the TV. So the Stephen King film It, the original one. Absolutely terrifying, terrified me for a really long time. So I thought it was only apt to have this sailboat, this kind of paper boat that's at the beginning of the, of the film. Ugh, horrendous. And then this balloon, somebody kindly designed this in the Facebook group, and I kind of changed it a little bit just to fit it in, but it's all stitched over one. So it just kind of fits in. Oh, and the other thing I just didn't realise till a really long time is that he's headless, but he's holding his head, and his head is reading like the titles on the books. I mean, it just took me ages. There's so much in here. It just took me ages to even spot that. So that is Haunted Library, and yeah, that's super cool. So there's a couple of these Lola Crow ones, and I think what I'm going to do is, instead of framing them, I think I'm going to buy the canvas, like a wooden framed with the canvas on it, the ones that are already done, you can paint on them. I think I'm going to do that and then mount these on the top of the canvas. I think that would look quite cool, and there's going to be a series of them. So this one, Deadly Aquarium, spoiler. There's a, I think a Halloween ball, I might have the name wrong, but a Halloween ball one has just been released. It's going to be a new start this year. And also Greenhouse of Oddities, which I'll come back to later. So I think they'd be quite cool, kind of mounted on canvases. I think that's also that I might actually do that as opposed to framing it. So that one's now folded up nicely. Next is Home of a Needleworker 2, which is a, at the moment, annual SAL with Emma Stitching. We have a Home of a Needleworker stitch along. Is this 2 years in a row? February to April, I think. Something along those lines. And this is Home of a Needleworker. This is by Little House Needleworks. And yeah, this is this one. Just love the blue house on this one. It's so cool. Just bring you in. It is, did I choose, I didn't actually choose variegated, and somehow my roof kind of came out variegated, which is quite cool. And then yeah, there's a couple of little bits down here. Cool border. Windows. So many windows. Yeah, and we did that over, I think, 3 months, and we kind of chose the house, and then we chose like all the like home of A, saying like a lot, home of A and all these bits, and then I think we did the border at the end. I can't remember the details now, unfortunately, but yeah, we did that over a couple of months. I think there'll be another one, so if you are interested in any of the Home of a Needleworker patterns, then keep an eye out. Okay. Because I can't see over the camera, I'm having to stand up every time, so if you're hearing weird clicking noises or squeaking, that's my chair. Next up is Mermaid of Salem Bay. This is by the Primitive Hare. This is stitched on some Pirates fabric, I think it's called Pirates, I can't remember. 30 count fabric from Primitive Hare. This is almost a see-through fabric. It's absolutely stunning. I saw this on a number of people's channels, and if you ask Isabel from Primitive Hare, you can get the bead pack, which is what I was able to do when I got the fabric and some other bits and pieces shipped over a while ago. So yeah, you can see the big pirate ship down here, it's so cool. So I stitched this one using the Cool Full threads, and I'm just going to bring you right into this one. The back stitch on her face, when you bring her in really close, she looks a bit strange. But when you bring her out a bit, I'm hoping she looks a bit better. Yeah, I feel like she's got a kind of necklace or choker on there, which she didn't have when I stitched her. Anyway, and then there are beads, and the beads are not really in the pattern. They are, there's actual photos in the pattern of a stitched piece with the beads in it, and then that's where I've kind of got my placement for them, and then just kind of done my own thing a little bit. But yeah, and I ummed and ahed as well about having the, let's bring this in, I ummed and ahed about having the words Mermaid of Salem Bay in there. I think it's cool, I think it works. Stitching this one as part of Mermania, so it's a yearly stitch along with myself and Emma, again from MIYAstitch. So in the month of May we stitch on anything mermaid related, and don't know off the top of my head how many Mermaid-nias we had for this one, but got there in the end. I love the fabric. 30 count's actually a really lovely, I don't have anything else that's 30 count that isn't Primitive Hare, and it's a really nice count actually. This in particular is quite loose and sort of linen-y, with big gaps. Yeah. So it is very see-through, which is quite unlike most of my other, even linen, it's quite unlike all of that. I'm just going to refold this because I don't know if you can see, take my head out of the way, well, you can see it if I do that. That's an invisible thread that I've beaded with, and if that's on the outside, I'm 100% going to break that. So I'm just going to refold it. I wouldn't normally fold things so the stitching is on the outside, but yeah, I'm going to break that. Okay, next one. Next one is Disturbed Women. This is by Lucy Beam Threads. I stitched this one on Primitive Hare fabric. So this is, I was looking for something, the model, or the model for this one is a really kind of grungy, grey, greeny, purple fabric. I couldn't find anything that was perfect. I found one thing, they don't ship to the UK. So I ended up looking for something that I thought, actually, if it goes in a clear, my plan is to put it in like a clear frame, or frameless frame, and I wanted it to kind of look like a wall, sort of on a glass door or something. If you open the door, it would be on the glass, you'd see the wall behind it, something along those lines. And I found 30 count Ancient Stones by Primitive Hare, which I've used for this. And I will say that Isabel from the Primitive Hare occasionally does a sale on seconds, and this was a seconds, so it was faulty. There's fault in it, or there's ink spots in it, or something, I can't really remember. But I think this one, yeah, has just got a few sort of blobs in it. It's perfect. So keep an eye out for that, because it's well worth it. This again is this kind of quite see-through linen, but I'm going to stand up anyway. And this is Evaluation Centre for Disturbed Women, Ward B. I did this using 2 different colours. This green is Cucumber by somebody I can't remember. And then there's this purple, which I can't remember the colour of. And the purple in the design is only in these sort of arrows that come across into the word for. But I just really wanted a bit more purple in it. I just enjoyed stitching something other than green in this one. So I just made the B purple as well. This one's a tricky one in terms of sort of carrying thread, because it is such a clear sort of see-through fabric. Oh, that fly made me jump. I might leave that in. This is the back. And I wouldn't normally show you the back, but I found the back quite tricky because, I found stitching this one quite tricky because you kind of have to carry threads a little bit. But I don't know why I'm showing you this really. But yeah, I'm quite pleased I managed to sort of not carry too much. Obviously, by the end of the word women, I just got really, really bored. Just decided to get it done. So that's the finish. Next up, Coffee Drinker's Confession, and this is by Heartstring Samplery, which is Beth Twist. This is part of a, is it Magical Elixir or Elixir series? But it is a coffee related one, which I love. Now, this is washing it out a little bit. It is darker brown than this, and it says, I don't have a problem with coffee, I have a problem without coffee, which is true for many of us, I believe. So this is on a, this is called Frozen. I think this is 40 count. Very, very small. Very small. I stitched this one in hand. And for anyone who has this pattern, in between each of these coffee beans, there's a little stitch, there's a little light coloured stitch in here. And I only did it in those first 2, and then I realised, let's not do that. You can't tell, you won't be able to tell. No one else has done it according to Instagram. So I left it. Stitching this one with Kelly as part of a kind of yearly coffee start around Christmas. And I'd like to say thank you to Morgan for gifting me this pattern in a giveaway a while ago. Thank you very much. Absolutely love it. So the next one is Halloween Crystal Ball. This is by the Tiny Modernist. This is another one that was a start with Kelly in October, kind of spooky start. I saw this one first on Michelle Mama Loved You GB's channel and absolutely loved it. And then it was going to be a start. So I will actually put up a picture. If I put this to the side, and I'll put a picture up of the finished, how it should look. I changed it slightly. So I'll just show you what I've done at the moment, and then I'll do a comparison. I haven't shown you the whole thing yet. There you go. Absolutely love it. I love a snow globe. I love the colours in this. About 6 colours in this, 5 colours, and that's it. And it's just so effective just with a couple of colours. It's on a green, I don't know, that must be a 32 count maybe, not sure. But it's so effective. Kelly and I kind of went through the colours that were in the floss list, and we decided on just using a couple that were from the floss list that were variegated. We thought there were a number of other bits in here that didn't really need to be variegated. So this orange and this green, I went with a variegated floss because I just really liked how it looked in the model. But yeah, you can see the green here. I think the grey, yeah, that's a bit variegated. Maybe it was only 1 or 2 then. Maybe it was only 1 or 2. I can't remember now. Anyway, I'll put it to the side and then I'll put up a picture of what it should have looked like finished. This, I just really didn't fancy the skull or the pumpkin at the bottom, so it just wasn't for me. So I took them out, and instead I put the candles that are on top of the pile of books, I moved them to the bottom, and I stitched the same candles on one side, and then I sort of flipped the pattern on my phone and just did it on the other side. And yeah, there's a bit of gappage. I didn't put the spider in with the spider's web, but I think it's okay, and I'm more than happy with it. More than happy with it. I think it's super cool. So I'm hoping to get that in a big black kind of gothic frame. Yeah, that's my plan. You know I like a plan. Okay, so the next one, the next one is the only fully finished object you're going to find in this whole video. And the reason for that is because you can buy Mill Hill frames, and I bought a Mill Hill frame. You don't have to do anything. You take the back out, you put the perforated paper in, and then you put the back on. That's it, that's all you have to do. So this is Mill Hill Cappuccino, and it is awesome. It took me ages. It took me way longer than I needed it to take. I don't really know why I was putting it off. Struggled with the beading when was it? On something ages ago. And on this one I used a new tool, which hopefully you'll see at some point. So I'll just bring you in. This is, when the light settles, you can see. So the word cappuccino, all of this froth. You can't really see it too. These are sort of normal sized beads. I don't know what that means. The normal Mill Hill sized beads. And then I'm going to bring you in, you can see they're here as well in the green. I'm just going to bring you into these ones. These are petite beads, and they are petite beads. Oh, while I'm here, I'll just bring you across. These are my favourite colours on this particular stitch. It's just so cool. I just absolutely love it. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to put the treasure on, but once I was near the end, I just was like, yep. So it's in this frame. It's an FFO. I have 2 left. For the first one is City Cat, also known as, or also on the pattern somewhere, a silhouette cat. It's by MIYAstitch or MIYAstitch. I'll put all this stuff below. I first saw this on Deb Wilson's channel. Hi Deb, thank you for showing this, because totally enabled. And then myself and Kelly started this as one of our October spooky starts. So I'll just bring this one up here now. It didn't take too long to stitch up the main stitching in the background. A lot of it is half stitch, so I'll just bring you into this sort of the body of the cat. You can see there, hang on, where's the camera? There's the camera. You can see there a lot of this is half stitch, and then the rest of it is back stitch. What? It's this strange sort of back stitch where there's 1 strand, 2 strands. That's it. There was only, you know, it's nowhere near as sort of complicated as a dimensions kit with all sorts of colours and all sorts of strands. This is just what the harder bit was this stitching, which was you might have 1 strand full cross, 2 strands full cross, 1 strand half stitch, 2 strands half stitch. So and then this was just sort of following the back stitch on the design, which is a really good design, which you need, I think, if you have something like this. And it's so cool. And then there's just this little pop of colour here around these people. So at some point that'll go, you know what I'm going to say. At some point that'll go in a frame and then I'll show you the proper colour. But yeah, that is City Cat. Another finish, woohoo! Okay, so the last finish so far this year, which is number 12, is Deadly Aquarium SAL. This is a stitch along by Lola Crow. This has been going on for a couple of months now, and the last part was released 2 days ago, and I managed to finish that this morning. I have loved it. I can't believe I kept up with it. Luckily there were sort of 3 or 4 weeks of a pattern release, and then you'd have a weekend off, and so often I would not stitch a week and then stitch it on the weekend off, or stitch it in the week just beforehand. So it kind of kept it not so regular, which was quite nice. This is Deadly Aquarium. So cool. As always, for these sorts of things, the frames are pretty kind of big chunk to get done, and it's one of those things I feel like I'm glad once I've done it, and you just have to sort of keep going at it. I nearly missed this guy in the release for the jellyfish and stuff. Sorry, there's a big crease there, so naturally you're getting a bit of shadow. I'll just bring you into these little blue ones. Cute. What have we got down here? Oh yeah, pufferfish. So cute. And the diver's helmet with the skull of the diver and a little crack in the glass where he met his demise. Crocodile, that was the most recent release this week. Some awesome, awesome creatures. Some sea flaps there. And yeah, just some really, really cool. Wait for the light to sort itself out. Just some really, really cool stuff. Now might be a good time to say that Lola Crow has also released a couple of years ago the Greenhouse of Oddities, and Emma and myself were kind of umming and ahhing about doing it. And then we saw Georgie, Crafty Road Gamer Georgie, hi Georgie, Georgie's finish at a retreat, and I remember we both sort of looked at each other and were like, oh no, got to do it now. So we both intend to do Greenhouse of Oddities next year, but over the full year. So this, the normal stitch-alongs are released kind of a little bit each week, with gap weeks. Yep, catch-up weeks, that's it. But we're going to do the whole thing over the year. So we might start, we haven't worked it out 100% yet, but we might start, say for instance in January, stitching the frame, and because we now know which parts came out at which point, it's not like if you didn't get to the whole frame in the whole of that month, it wouldn't matter, because as long as you knew where the first bit is going, then just make sure that that frame bit is done. So we're going to probably release details about it later, but at the moment it's stitch the frame and then 1 part per month for the rest of the year. There are a lot of people I know who have started it, and a couple of people already, when we've mentioned it, have said that they would be interested in joining us. Emma and I both, it's going to be a start for both of us, but that's the plan. So yeah, if you're interested, let us know. Okay, so on to the starts for this year so far. The first one is Forbidden Fibre Company's The Raining Lorelais. So this is Gilmore Girls related, and it looks like this. I'm stitching this one on, I haven't done very much. I'm stitching this one on Frozen, which is the other part of the fabric from, the other Coffee Drinker's Confession piece. I just cut it up. So I've started this one and I have done this much. And that is the very top of the coffee cup. So really not very much at all. It's also being washed out a bit, sorry. So yeah, lots to go on that one. It's very small, it is 40 count, so yeah, I'm at that point now where I need some magnifiers for it, so I use 1.5 magnifiers glasses, and really good lighting. That's the key. Next up is Coffin Buzz. I'll put a picture in of what this one looks like because I do not have a printed version of it. No. This I'm stitching on some 18 count printed cobweb fabric. Thank you to my lovely stitchy friend who sent me this. And so far I've got this. Yeah, not far at all. I think there's something about stitching on 18 count fabric again that I'm just not brilliant with, but I really like the design of this one, so I'm gonna get back to this one. Next up is And To All a Good Night by Blackbird Designs. I've seen Michelle, Mama Loves You GB, finish this one on her channel, and I just absolutely loved it. And the pineapple above the door. Yeah, I just absolutely loved it. Oh, sorry for the glare. So yeah, I chose some, what I hope is really interesting fabric for this one. It's from Lakeside Needlecraft, and it starts grey at the top and then moves to green. And so I'm hoping it'll look, you know, like the grass around the house, and it's grey because it's kind of getting into the evening. So that's what I'm hoping for. I've stitched just this so far. There are some specialty stitches in this actually, which I didn't realise, which is quite cool. Yeah, on reflection, I wonder if this would have been better on a smaller count. I don't know what this is, but it does actually say on the fabric. Wait, 28 count even weave, but the pattern is designed for a 28 count, so that's what I'm going with, and I'm hoping it will have a nice effect with the two colours. If it doesn't, I will stitch it again. So the next two were starts and finishes, so you've already seen them. They were Home of a Needleworker 2 and the Deadly Aquarium. So then the next one that I started was Vampire. This is a Witchy Stitcher Patreon exclusive. Yes, so I joined Patreon for this. So the design is, it's so cool. It comes with a pattern with and without the moon, and this sort of brown frame really sets this one off. I just love it. I just love it. So I found some 18 count black Ada, and oh please, it's this way. This is what I've done so far. That's the chin, whiskers, rest of the head comes here. This little triangular gap here is for red, which is a fang and some blood, I think, or just some blood, can't remember. So yeah, 18 count on black fabric is, it's an acquired taste. It's gonna look so cool when it's done. It's gonna look so cool. And again, my plan for that one is kind of a big black gothic-y type frame. Yeah, in the bathroom of doom. The last one I started, I'm not going to show you. Sorry. It's my new next Chatelaine. It's called Versailles, and it's massive. I started it, I'm nearly at the end of the centrepiece, and there's a centrepiece that's stitched, and then there's beaded flowers in four corners of this centrepiece, and the beaded flowers are just beads, so that it's quite tricky. I'll put two pictures in of the beaded bit that I've posted on Instagram, and then the second photo is the back of my work. And because I'm using invisible thread, it's invisible, and it's really tricky to sort of start and end threads using invisible thread on the back of your work which you've used invisible thread on. I'm starting a new Chatelaine Chronicles series for Versailles. So far, not including the beading section, I've got 4 hours of footage. So I've recorded my unboxing of my threads, how I've put my fabric onto my scroll frame. I've had to stitch it onto the scroll frame, it's different than the last one. My kind of process for when I'm doing beading. I've done some stitch with me's, so I'm showing you how I'm stitching some of the specialty stitches, I think. So there's a lot to do. So what I'm going to do, I think, is just separate that into probably 3 videos. So a kind of setup and supplies video, and then half of the centrepiece, and then the other half of the centrepiece. I think that's the plan, otherwise it just becomes unmanageable to edit and probably unmanageable to watch if it were me. I would struggle with that too. So that's my plan. So I don't want to show it to you here, but I have started it. It's absolutely beautiful. The beaded flowers, I think I started them when I was really tired, and I didn't have the right kind of method, and so then I just didn't stitch on it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then now I'm back on it. So I'm struggling to not pick it up. But if I had picked it up and stitched on it, I wouldn't have had these lovely finishes or any of these lovely starts. So yeah, it's a balance. Okay, so the next section of the video are things that I've worked on. So these are not starts and obviously not finishes. I've got 11. Okay, so the first one is B by Lorelai. It's not. First one is Robin by Lorelai, kitted and charted by Gecko Rouge. Oh, I just love it. Yeah, it's on Pattern Keeper. I can tell you it's 25,500 stitches in total. I've done 15,500, so I'm at 61%. I picked this one up, do a bit, and think I'm going to stitch on it every single month and get it done for Christmas, and then it just doesn't happen. This section in particular is full of lots and lots of colour changes, and actually confetti as well, where some of these leaves or flowers, they'll all be different individual stitches of individual colours. And then some of this background is great. And then you really quickly get bored of the background and then move on to this other stuff. So didn't find a groove with this one, but again, plodding along with it and getting on with it. So on 25 count, 1/1 full cross, sorry it's creased, etc, etc. This one is probably one of the closest ones that I've found that is like the model picture. It's just stunning and interesting. You can see the difference between the 2 colours. This is much, much lighter than the model stitch. In terms of background as well, so it makes sense that it's different colours. It's absolutely stunning. I'll bring you in. This is 1/1 full cross. The feather effect in here was amazing. Cancel. Yeah, absolutely stunning. I can't wait. He's got such a little character. I can't wait to really finish. We'll just get on with it. But yeah, sorry for the crease. That doesn't give you the best view of it. There you go, that's better. So yeah, I was going to say not much left, but 40% is quite a lot. Okay, next up is Book of Shadows. This is by Living on a Rainbow. They are these little books, there's a number of them. There are these little books that you stitch the cover for and the individual pages. And this one's called, Book of Shadows, Stitch Along. So the cover is stitched on 18 count, which is this little folded up piece. DMC and a bit of Krynic. Which way around? This way around. Oh, and some French knots in the snake's eyes. Can we bring this to you? Whoa. There you go. Nice. And so, yeah, the cover is stitched on 18 count Ada. It doesn't matter what fabric you use. I happen to have some fabric that I know I won't use on anything else, because when you stitch on it, it looks really grubby. And I think that's the design of it, but actually it doesn't look very nice. So I used that because I knew I was going to stitch full coverage on it. So that's the cover. And then the individual pages, there are 8 individual pages, and the instructions say to grid out the fabric because it just makes it easier later. So I'm stitching this with Kelly from Animal Instinct, and Leah from Leah Ravenga has the embellishment packs, which are these really cute little bits to add on later. So a chain and a skull and these little clips that go in the top corners. There's this really, really sweet little embellishment pack. So highly recommended these ones. I didn't look at these pages for ages because I just didn't want to see what was coming up. I'm going to show one now, so if you don't want to see what one of the inside pages looks like, look away now. And it will look like this once stitched. You can put it on a little stand. And so you're stitching on one side of the fabric, probably the other side of the fabric, and then folding it over some card. I don't know. There are some instructions in obviously how to build it up. So this is stitched on 32 count. I wish I'd chosen something a little bit more antique-y, but I didn't, so I'm here now. But this is 32 count, and this is everything gridded out. So there's 8 pages. Again, really clear instructions, like 3 centimetres between each page. It's really, really clear. And then I've stitched these, so page 1, page 2. So page 1 is Frankenstein. It's monster. This has got Krynick and just some DMC. They're very, very small. The back stitch on the word Frankenstein is like next level back stitch, which I actually, turns out, I thoroughly enjoy. Yeah, and then this one is Werewolf. And I made a big, made a mistake because I stitched the back stitch in here and then realised that the back stitch is supposed to go over the moon and the Krynick. So then having to unpick sort of 1/1 back stitch on 32 count, quite a chore. Managed it, and then stitched the moon. Had to wait for new Krynick to come in because I'd run out, and then stitch the back stitch, but it's done now. So that's page 1 and page 2. Working out, we want to finish it by the end of the year, so working that out, we need to stitch 2 of these per month. So this was August, so September, October, November, and then the plan is to sort of build the book over December. So yeah, you hopefully will be seeing this more often. The next couple will be from Mermaid. So this is Dark Queen of the Sea. I started this maybe 2 years ago, well after the stitch along. The fabric's amazing. I don't like that it's opalescent, so I don't think I'll go with opalescent again. But this is how far I got. Isn't she amazing? I can't remember now. I think that's 3 parts. She's on 32 count, and the next part is her head and her face. I don't know if I'll be able to wait until May next year to do that. She looks a bit weird at the moment. So here's her hand. There's some boobs and some fish. The effect is so cool. Look at the shadow. Oh, it's just so cool. It's just awesome. She's going to be awesome. So yeah, I'm glad I got past the first part. It was all just quite overwhelming and not really doable for me, and then I just got on with it. And I loved it. Oh, the massive flies back. Oh, did you see it there? Gross. The cat's come in now, so I'm hoping Ripley might be able to actually sort of do her job and earn her keep, because the Thunders obviously brought her in. Anyway, I digress. The next one was Mermaid's Folly by Courtney Collection. It is this one. Let's take the big reflection out. There you go. I've mentioned it a number of times, but the pattern comes, there's 5 patterns in here, the full thing, and then these individual parts if you just want to stitch a bit of it. Courtney Collection here. This is on 40 count Murky. If you want to see somebody who stitched this further, check out Kelly's channel. It's incredible. I'm stitching 3371. Yeah, 3371. I didn't want a fancy floss on this one because it's just one colour throughout the whole thing, and I'm going to do the whole thing. Last year, hang on, what year are we in? 24. So in May 23, I picked this one up and stitched quite a lot on it, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't know what happened this year in May 24, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I think I had like a week per mermaid throughout the month of May, so five of them or something. And I don't know, it just didn't. So I didn't get very much done on it. I didn't put much effort into this one. I can't remember and don't really know why, but obviously now I'm looking at it, I love it. I've got to the top, all the way down to the bottom. So just sort of filling out bits and pieces. Thunder honestly sounds like someone's emptying bins next door, but it's incredible here. If you can't hear it, then good. So more boobs. Yeah, and you're stitching the sort of, is it negative space stitching? I don't really know. Don't know the term, but she's cool. We must be in the eye of the storm because that was really loud. So the next one that I must have started right at the end of last year, which is quite scary considering how little I've stitched on it, is called Nights, and I'll put a picture up because I do not have a printed off picture of this one. It's by L.A. Williams. It was a Heaven and Earth Designs chart. Heaven and Earth Designs, Hare, are no longer selling this one. It might be available from other companies. So if you're interested, it might be worth checking that out. I saw this one at the crew retreat, Ladybird crew retreat last year, and it was on the finishing table. Someone had it framed, and oh my god, the noise. Where we were sat, I had a clear line of sight straight through to the finishing table, and I could see it for the whole weekend out the corner of my eye. And it was just amazing. It was so shiny, and all the metal just looked so shiny. I just couldn't believe that it was a cross stitch. So if that was your cross stitch on the crew table, at the crew finishing table, amazing, amazing. Also let me know. So I started this one, 25 count, 1/1. I suspect this might have been my kind of quick, get all the starts done by the end of the year, because you're not allowed any starts next year. Obviously I failed on that because I've shown you some of the new starts already. But that's okay, because we can change our plans at any time. There are plans. 25 count, 1/1. I got this one. It's not super size. It's not max colour. I think it's regular. And there's not many, like 15 colours in it, something like that. But the effect is incredible. So, oh, I just can't wait. This is, hang on, which way around is it? It's this way around. And this is like 2 lots of stitching on it. 25 count, 1/1. I slightly regret my choice. I wish I'd done it 10 now. But I've gone with 1/1, and that's how I've started. I mean, obviously there's not much there. I could start it again, but there's so many dark colours in this one that actually you probably would see through it into the fabric. So I'll stick with 1/1. Nearly the whole page is this one colour, I think. So I'm dragging my heels a bit on this one. I'm going to the crew retreat in September, so I'm wondering if I could take this one with me and then like stitch on it for the whole day. Whilst chatting to some lovely people around the table that will keep me distracted from the fact that I'm just stitching one colour on 25 count, like all day. Maybe. Okay, next up is Magwayan by Bella Filipina, and I stitched this one. This was part of a, so Teresa Little Stitcher on Flosstube had a stitch along for this one, or it was a start with me, I can't really remember, but it was part of the Teresa Made Me Do It SAL. And every time she has a live video now on YouTube, she goes live and I stitch on this one generally. There are a few exceptions, and then sometimes I stitch on this one when it's not alive. It's quite big actually. It's taking me a really long time to get through it, annoying me a bit. So I am thinking maybe I need to put a bit more time into it. Anyway, this is what it looks like. She's stunning. There are beads, specialty stitches, specialty threads. Yeah, so ignore the crinkles. Here's the red jewel, kind of on her belt, and that's this bit here. I think that might be part of her arm or something. So this is the part of her dress, and then here's this big swoop here, and that's this big pink thing, and then that's the ship down here, which I've started recently. This is quite recent, this bit. I was just sort of, because I started in the middle, it was quite a tricky one because I just didn't know where to go with it. I don't really like starting these things in the middle. I get a bit overwhelmed. I prefer to like start one end and work my way across. But it just made sense to start in the middle because it's so not square. So I thought actually if I just ignore all of this stuff and just work on the ship and then work on this bit and then like maybe just work across here. I'm thinking I'd like this bit to be the last bit, but again, I'll change my mind probably and do other stuff. I've put in some treasure braid. You can see some sparkles in here. That's some treasure braid, petite treasure braid. And then these big gaps, I believe there's like a bead and then one of these long beads, I think is in there, or maybe it's just all a long bead, I can't really remember. I had a real nightmare with this bit of the sail of the ship. I was dog sitting last week or the week before for my parents, and there are two symbols that are similar. One's like a snowflake with sort of 6 prongs, and the other one's a snowflake with 8 prongs, and I picked up the wrong colour and stitched stuff, so I had to frog it. And then there was another one where there's like an equal sign, and one's a really long equal sign and then the other one's a shorter thicker equal sign, and I picked up the wrong one and then had to frog it. So I had trouble. I'm on a roll now and I know what I'm doing, and it's because I don't stitch it very often that I then sort of don't notice these things, and I just sort of run my eyes down and go, oh, that's the symbol. But I need to be more careful because that's just such a waste of time. But yeah, she's looking, I mean, it's going to be cool. Some really cool colours in there, and obviously with the treasure braid sparkles, and once the beads are in, it's going to be awesome. So I think we must still be in May. This is Red Mermaid by RTO. This is a kit, 18 count Blue Ada. Stunning. There are a number of people doing this, and we had a bit of a group during Mermania. It was so cool. Loads of different people started in different places, and it's just stunning. This is one of those ones where it's kind of like there are normal 2 strands of the same colour, and then there's a lot of blends, and so you have to kind of get into a system with it, whatever system works for you. Once you get your system, it's much easier. So this is where I am. Oh, she looks cool on camera. The whole of this top section, I believe, is done. There's back stitch still to go. There's specialty stitches. There might be French knots, can't remember. I'll bring you in. A lot of colour changes. Yeah, a lot of this background here isn't stitched. You can see the blue half stitches there. And yeah, there's kind of fractional stitches around her face. This is just solid and it feels really thick. It's a lot of colour changes. Yeah, she looks cool though, doesn't she? Yeah, back there, dark. It's just darker than it's darker than when I come away from the camera. It sort of washes it out a bit. Yeah. Loads to go, but she's looking good. Okay, up next is B by Lorelai. This is actually a restart. The next 2 are restarts, both by Lorelai. I originally started B a while ago, can't remember when, on 18 count. Now if you can hear that, that's Ripley's food bowl closing because she's got to have medication in an hour and she's not allowed any food for the next hour. I think she's quite sad about it. I started B on 18 count, and I just wasn't feeling it. I got to 3%, 3 something percent, and I just wasn't feeling it, and I didn't stitch on it for, I don't know, over a year, 2 years, I can't remember. It just wasn't, I just didn't want to do it. So I restarted it. Here's what it's gonna look like when it's finished. The background's gonna be white on mine, not this purple colour. Charted and kitted by Gecko Rouge. If you wanna see this finished, check out Kelly and also Morgan, both of which have finished it, both of which I think on different counts, so that's cool. So I restarted this on 25 count 1/1, and this was part of a stitch along with Emma X Stitching. We had part of our sort of SAL Queens stitch alongs. We had this stitching in June, July and August, and there were no real kind of rules to it. We kind of said, we were both starting this one, but we said anyone could join in on anything bee related. We like to involve as many people as possible. So I got to 5% in June, and then in July I got to 10%, and then in August I finished off the wing, and after I'd done 2% and and it had taken me like a while, I stopped. I fully thought I'll get to 15% in 5% each month, get to 15% at the end of the stitch along, but once I'd hit colouring in the wing, I just decided that was it. I was done. So I'm not sure when I'll pick this one up again next, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So this is where I got to. As I said, the body was the first section that I did, and that's completely coloured in. And then I moved across to this wing, and yeah, it was a lot. There are block colours, hang on, if I just hold it with this hand. There are block colours kind of going through here. You know, there are bits that follow through and you do the same colour. There are there are some, but there are also an awful lot of colour changes. And I've got quite a good method though, especially for these wings. Like I did the outline in this sort of black colour, well, it is 310 I reckon, and then I just coloured in this wing, and then I coloured in sort of this set of wings, and then this one, and I did it quite methodically. And what I tend to do when you end up with these sort of the odd stitch that's empty, these sort of ninja stitches, I literally will pick, like, here's a box of 10 by 10 and I'll pick that box and I'll pick up the first ninja stitch, I'll stitch that, and if that colour is in any of this, I'll go and do that. And then I will finish this square, then I'll move on to the next square, again pick one colour and do that ninja stitch in all of the sections. So I was quite methodical, so I just worked my way across here, completing this bit, this bit, this bit, this bit, this bit. So I ended up with just the problem bits here to finish. There's a lot to do. This is 12 point something %. I'm really glad I've started with the bee this time, and obviously I loved it enough to carry on with it and sort of surpass really what I'd originally thought I would be able to do. I couldn't believe it when I got to 5% in June. That was just unexpected really. Obviously this black 310 section, wait, was it 310? Yeah, probably. Gecko Rouge don't give you the DMC colours, the numbers, that's why I'm questioning it, but it's bound to be 310. This is all black. There's a little bit of grey, I'll just bring you in here, kind of to bring some shading in, but it's quite good that it's block. You can see a lot of the fabric through here. Obviously there's lights on this, really focused, so you can't really see that from far away, or even like a foot away when it's not in a light. So I think it helped that I started with the bee and there was this big chunk of black that you could just get on with. This is a lot of colour changes. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. The hashtag for our stitch along was OM_Belushi, so like OMG, but OM for Emma and then Belushi with an extra B for Belushi. Oh, genius. So we've stitched this one now. So the stitch along for this one is now over. And I do want to say thank you to anyone who joined in. There are a number of people I saw on your Flosstubes or who tagged us. So thank you very much. Really appreciate you joining in with us. Okay, so my next restart was Winter Peace by Lorelai, which is also charted and kitted by Gecko Rouge. This one is limited, so you can sort of find it occasionally. It pops up on the secondary market. Just fell in love with it the moment I saw it, and I just loved it. I started it a while ago, right at the top, doing this light blue colour, and it was on 18 count. And again, I just wasn't feeling it, and I didn't stitch on it for ages and ages and ages and ages. I thought I'd restart it because I love it, and I think it's a real shame. I love it so much. It's one of my favourite pieces I've got and have had, and I just feel so sad that I'm not stitching it and it's not on my wall, because I think it's beautiful. So I restarted it, 25 count, 1/1. I don't have the PDF for this, so I'll admit it's a struggle. I've put it onto a PDF reader, but I don't have the actual PDF file, so I can't put it into Pattern Keeper, so I am having to sort of manually find the symbols and cross them off. It's still doable, but I'll admit I'm finding it really hard. But I got quite far, but this is how far I've got. I can't remember the percentage, but I started in the middle, and I have been working on the deer, who is, as you can see, this bit is completely finished. It's so cool. If I just bring that up next to the pattern and you can see where I am. Oh, it's just awesome. I'm really excited about this one. I absolutely love it. I'm gonna have to get back to it. I mean, if ever there was a Christmas stitch, this is the one. Okay, last but not least, I have stitched some of Welcome Foolish Mortals by the Witchy Stitcher. I will pop a picture in of what it looks like because my camera's about to overheat. So this is where I am so far. Doing this one on probably 40 count. It's certainly a very small count, and or a high count, small stitches. This is all in 310 at the moment. The plan is to do these eyes here in glow in the dark and then put it up in my porch. I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, not too far along with this one, but it's getting there, it's on its way, and it's going to be really cool. The fabric is much darker in real life than it is in this camera, but yeah, I'm going to keep working on it. This is Welcome Foolish Mortals. So that's everything I have stitched on. What I thought I'd do really quickly is just show you what I'm going to be stitching on over the next 3 months as the new stitch along with MIYAstitch. So Emma was very kind to me this year, and 2 of our stitch alongs were new starts for her, but ones I already had started, so thank you, Emma. This was going to be my year of no starts. I will say though, some of the new starts right at the beginning of the year were ones that I allowed myself last year, but I just didn't finish them by the 31st of December. So I just didn't start them until the 31st of December. So I allowed myself to just start them in the first couple of days of this year. Technically they're last year's starts. Right, so the next stitch along is Quaker Pumpkins by Hello from Liz Matthews. I started this on this, I think 21st or 7th of December 2021, can you believe it? And I'm stitching this on 40 count white linen. Our plan is to stitch this one for September, October and November. Not to finish it all. If we finish it, great, but we're not planning on splitting this, quite big, so we're not planning on splitting this one into 3 and then just hoping we can stitch on it and get it all done. So it's a start along really, but same as B, we're just going to stitch on it in the month of September, October, November, and see where we get to. The hashtag for this one is Pick a Pumpkin SAL. Just a reminder, we have a SAL Queens and Friends Facebook group, and in there we post our SALs and we post our progress and our updates and that sort of thing. So if you're interested, you can find our Facebook group. There's a couple of questions just to get in, just so that we know that you are a stitcher, but you're welcome to join us in there. So I started this one before, as I said, and I stitched this one in hand. Interestingly, I actually remember, I can put myself in the seat in my lounge stitching this one. I can remember it exactly. That doesn't happen very often, but with this one I can. This is how far I got. So I stitched that middle pumpkin. And the weirdest thing, like there's a couple of really weird things that's happening at the moment. It like, you know, when you just get those really odd coincidences. I checked this one yesterday and I would have put money on saying to you I have not stitched this stalk. I checked this one yesterday upstairs and I was like, oh, I didn't put the stalk in. Why didn't I put the stalk? I'll put the stalk in. Maybe I must have dreamt it. But I'm looking at this today, I've just this second opened it, and apparently I have stitched the stalk. I had not stitched it yesterday. So if there's a stitch fairy in this house, if you could work on one of my massive full coverages, that would be really helpful to me. Thank you. So I stitched this whole pumpkin and the stalk apparently, and if I bring up the design, it's this middle one. So you can see how quite large this is going to be. Luckily though, I've done the big pumpkin. I think that's a good way to start, get the big pumpkin done, and then you can sort of fill in all these other ones. So there are some posts on social media where people have put in here, they've changed the wording from All Hallows Eve to, is it Autumn Harvest? Have I made that up? Autumn Harvest. I don't trust myself now. Autumn Harvest, and I think some leaves instead of these birds. I quite like the dark section down here, and I don't really mind that it's All Hallows Eve. I feel like it gives it a bit more of a sort of Halloween-y vibe actually, so I'll consider later, but I think I'll probably stitch this as it is. I quite like it. So that's my plan, and that's where I am so far. The obligatory pause, hoping we thumbnail something nice, instead of some awful face position. So I'm looking forward to getting back on this one. It's going to be cool. So you're welcome to join us. Again, it doesn't have to be this particular piece. We're opening that up and we're just saying any pumpkin. If you've got anything that's got a pumpkin in it, join us. And it's Pick a Pumpkin Sal. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching my video today. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the like, which is the thumbs up button below. Hit the subscribe button if you're not yet a subscriber. There's a bell if you want to be notified of when I upload videos. Please share this video or any of the hashtags or stitch-alongs that we're hosting this year or next year with the Greenhouse of Oddities. And then also my Chatelaine playlist for Evening in the Park, if that's helpful to anyone in terms of the actual design or the sort of specialty stitches or anything like that. Feel free to share any of that sort of information as well. We have the Facebook group, so come and join us if you're interested. And if you want to support my channel in a different way, I have a coffee link below, so you're welcome to buy me a coffee below. Thank you very much again. I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.